Hi everybody, Ed Diaz here. In today's video we're going to show how to use some of the chord memories that we've created, the chord memory layer and split using 3 different tones and also a bass. We're going to show how to use that inside the sequencer and make a song all from using one finger. Alright, so let's get started. This is actually going to be a lot of fun. So first off, let's begin by finding our chord memory that we created, and we created a couple of them. And so I created, remember the first one we created was just with 3 tones, and then we created another one with bass. That's fine. And then we created another one using bass, EP, Vox, strings, bass, and lead. So that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and change this one back to C, and there it is, and exit. And let me rewrite it so it stays in the C. That sounds good. So now that we have these already set, let's go ahead and create a sequence with them. All right. So I'm going to press the sequencer button right here, and you see I already have something there. I'm going to use song select, and I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and load and initialize. Great. Another way I could have done that, and this is the more proper way, is to press and hold Shift, hit song utility, and song clear. So let's go ahead and do that just so we can go through the motions and you see what's going on. All right, so now it's using, just so you see, it's using that studio set that we created. That sounds great. Here's my leads. Great. Now, here's what we're going to add to this equation. We're going to add something called the rhythm pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and press rhythm pattern right here. And you see these buttons correspond to the different rhythm patterns that are available to us. And right now it's defaults on pop number 7. So let's give these a listen. So I'll go ahead and intro. So as you can hear, I have a lot of different rhythm patterns in here for me. So let's press the enter button because it's highlighted in blue. Let's go in here and see what else we can find. So a lot of different ones in here. But I think for our example, let's listen to it. I might use one of these others. I like this. So let's take a listen to it real quick. Sounds pretty good. Kind of a Latin bossa kind of feel. And I'm going to take this down. .98, let's see what happens. And now let's go ahead and play along with what we created earlier. So let's go ahead and have it play. That's cool. I can totally live with that. So for our example, we're going to use this other, and we're going to use verse 1. Okay, so the verse 1 right there. So now let's learn how to integrate it inside the sequencer. Once again, press the sequencer button, and we're going to go ahead and press the record button. I'm going to turn down my volume for a second so we can talk. And I can use the 1 measure count in. So go ahead and press enter. And I have a couple of options. For this example, I'm going to use wait note. And wait note, once again, means as soon as I touch the keyboard or I touch the pedals hooked up, the keyboard's going to start recording. So just keep that in mind. But for our example, I'll use wait note. If I want, I can go ahead and use 1 measure. Doesn't matter. But for our example, I'll use wait note. Next, quantize. Do I want to have quantize on, shuffle, or grid? The answer is no at this time. Anytime you use a chord memory, remember, and it's on rolled, what's going to happen is the quantize is going to correct the chord memory and kind of make all those rolled notes fit in to the specific quantization set by you. So on this example, we're going to use quantize off. Okay, so we can actually go ahead and have the rolled chords roll. So let's go ahead and select off. Now let's go ahead and loop switch on. And for example, we'll go ahead and use a four bar loop. So that sounds fine. On this one, do we want to have a tempo record? Not necessarily. And rhythm pattern. Now this is the most important. The answer is on. So what this means, as soon as I go ahead and engage the recording by touching the keys I want to play in, it's going to start recording. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and do this together. We're going to walk up the scale. And we'll play this one for 2 bars and then play the C sharp or D flat for 2 bars. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so you guys follow along with me. Let's try this now. Great, so now we have it set. We have a real nice recording. We did with one finger, just a couple of notes using chord memory, some layers in here, and also the rhythm pattern. That's pretty cool. So if I wanted to save this, I press the right button, and I'm gonna save this as a song. So let's go ahead and select, and I'm gonna go ahead and rename it, and we're gonna call it Chord Memory Song. So I'll probably name it CM Song. So let's just do C, and there's M, and I'll delete these characters right here. Okay, and that's fine. We'll put it on number 10, select, and save. So it's saving. Now, one thing to remember when you're creating music inside the FA-08 and FA-06 workstation, you have to also save the studio set. So if I've made a custom studio set, make sure you save it and you know what studio set goes with what song. So that's something that's kind of cool you have to remember. So the last thing I'm going to show you on this, and then this will help us in our next video, is we're going to go ahead and export these tracks. So let's do that now. So Shift, and we're going to go to Song Utility, and we're going to go down to Export Song. Okay, so select, and remember we could do it the old-fashioned way and save this as a standard MIDI file, which is great because maybe I want to use sounds from other software instruments instead of the FAs. Okay, or I want to go ahead and do a stereo mix so I can listen to it in the car or whatever. But for our example, we're going to go ahead and create a multi-track. Now remember, this is only 4 bars. Using the FA-06, FA-08, so it's not going to last for long. Okay, so let's go ahead and export it now. Select. Now here's a trick I want you guys to really see. On here it says post export time. Now if you're going to be putting this inside a DAW, which I'm assuming you will be, you want to set this to 0. If you do this and you remember your tempo, our tempo is 97, this will go in perfectly inside your DAW. And in a couple subsequent videos, I'm going to show you this. We're going to use Ableton Live and we're going to use Apple Logic. So let's go ahead and execute now, and let's export these tracks into the SD card. Okay, great. Now that it's exported, okay. So in this video, hopefully you learn how to go ahead and put the chord memory, utilize the chord memory and the rhythm pattern inside the FA-06, FA-08 music workstation, and also learn how to export them. Now, one cool thing I want you guys to realize, we were able to do this using chord memory and just using a couple of single notes on the keyboard. That is pretty cool. We can come up with some really cool ideas without having to have a lot of chord vocabulary. Okay, but I encourage you to learn some chords. But anyway, that makes it a lot of fun. The other last thing I want you to remember to do is go ahead and put that post record time to 0. So when you import those tracks inside your different DAWs, they'll be perfect. Okay, there'll be no extra time. They'll fit perfect in there. Okay, so anyway, stay tuned for those videos. My name is Ed Diaz, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.